You have a young man riding a motorcycle. He was going to work. It was 6 a.m. He was going over a rise in the roadway. He encountered this 55-foot debris field and didn't have time to react to it. He runs into it. He's ejected into the debris field and fractures his neck from C1 down to T7. They had to fly him in a medevac all the way up to Stanford, and they did that surgery later that morning. I flew out to the scene, spent a couple days there, and measured it myself. I noticed that there was this row of eucalyptus trees, and the trees overhung the roadway, where they were leaning, branches were hanging over it at 60, 70, 80 feet in the air.
I was brought in to create a few different exhibits. We went out to the site and we used a drone with a 3D laser scanner attached to it, and we scanned the tree where the limb broke off from. Mr. Vartazarian also went out and grabbed the limb that the man struck on his motorcycle and brought it back to his office. We scanned that as well, and we were able to essentially jigsaw puzzle the broken limb back to the tree.
We had no reference as to what happened. The officer who conducted the investigation didn't take any photographs. So the best thing that I could do is track down the witnesses who had reported it to CHP. In order to do that, we sent out a bulk mailer to the entire community with some 5,300 letters. And we started getting calls, and I was able to find the people that came to the scene. And the response we got was overwhelming. Oh yes, on this roadway, these branches, they've been dropping for years. And I was able to get a hold of the officer involved in the incident. He's like, oh yeah, I've been reporting this for years. These branches are all over the roadway. In fact, he testified to it.
Have you seen eucalyptus branches on the road, on Orchard Road, in the times that you've patrolled it in the 6 years leading up to this incident?
That particular area, I'd say several times.
The next question was, who did this tree belong to? There were several potential defendants, a governmental entity, the owners of the land, and its tenant. What I found out was, because they rendered the roadway a dangerous condition of property, the governmental entity was primarily responsible. Within less than 60 days of this incident occurring, there was a report at the exact intersection where this incident occurred that a eucalyptus tree had fallen over onto the roadway. And when I found that, along with the officer's testimony and some other people who were ready to testify, this case was over. And with the animations that were prepared by Courtroom Animation of that surgery were key in this case, because later we were able to demonstrate exactly how extensive these injuries were.
One of the important things was showing that while the surgeons are doing their best to repair this just incredibly damaged spine, the viewer understands that there's really no recovery, and this man's going to be suffering for the rest of his life.
And also the day in the life video that we were able to do with Verdict Videos. You could look at a photograph, you could look at a medical record, but once you take the time and hire a professional to go into the home from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep, and to see how much they struggle, the medications they need to take, the hoists that they need just to get out of bed. This is what the person's going through. It's not just some diagnosis written on a discharge summary. This is what the jury's gonna see. I gave them a deadline, and a day before that deadline, I got a call, and they accepted. When I got the call that this case is going to settle for a collective $39.1 million, the first thing I did was call my client. I knew someone was at fault, and my job was to go out and prove it. And that's exactly what I did.